guys, what's going on? Memento here, and welcome to Venka Prime. Now, when Valkyr's Prime Access came out, I didn't really give these things much love or attention, which is a shame, because now when I think about it, these things are my favorite thing to have come from that Prime Access. Not only do they look incredible, but they are fucking beastly. These things shred, and they're really fun to use. Now, before we get into things, if you're going to farm for them like I have, bear in mind, you're going to need 2 gauntlets and 2 blades instead of 1. So, yeah, it's kind of rough, but, you know, whatever. They're entirely worth the effort. And, of course, I'll put on the screen the drop table, and in the description I'll put the link to the Reddit post I use that helped me farm for everything, just to make your lives a little bit easier. But let's get into things. So, the Venka Prime, they basically improved everything that I thought was bad about the Venka, and made the weapon incredible. So the original Venka, they felt really sluggish. They were, of course, the hand-to-hand combat melee type, so you had to get right into your enemy's face. However, the issue was that it felt really clunky because the attack speed was really slow. And the crit chance wasn't really great. It had a 15% crit chance, and it wasn't really Berserker viable. You could say it was. It was on the fringe of being Berserker viable. If it was at 20%, maybe, but at that point, no, it wasn't viable, and I just hated the weapon. But these things, the Venka Prime, they don't suffer from that issue at all. These things rip through enemies like they're paper, and the amount of red crits you'll see is fucking laughable. It's hilarious. And I mean laughable in a good way. You will see red crits on enemies all the time with these weapons, especially with the build that I use. It's absolutely hilarious. I've never seen so many red crits, to be honest with you. Even more than a Valkyr Prime. So, the neat thing about these weapons is that it has a modified melee combo multiplier. It will give you a 75% bonus damage increase instead of the regular 50%, and that really helps. Just means you'll be shredding enemies even more efficiently than you probably would if you didn't have the 75% damage increase. And it makes these things just all the more enjoyable to use. Now, the only downside to this weapon is that it's a hand-to-hand combat weapon. Now, and that's not really saying the weapon's bad, it's the weapon's fault. It's my fault. It's a personal preference type of thing. I'm really not that seasoned with hand-to-hand combat melee weapons. I've been spoiled too much by the Valkyr Prime and the Orthos Prime and, well, my favorite melee, which is the Talos Boltes, which, you know, you could argue doesn't really count because of its slide attack, but hey, it has a large range. And these things, of course, you gotta get right into the enemy's faces. However, it's just a me thing. If you're really good with hand-to-hand combat weapons in this game, you will just dominate. You will shred things more efficiently than I did. Myself, I was constantly hopping around, just swinging at enemies from a mile away, just desperately hoping that I'll just somehow just lunge into them. But other than that, I really enjoy these weapons, and having that short range doesn't really affect it for me that much. Now, for stances, I'm using the 4 riders, and I know that a lot of you probably don't have it because of the Grineer Manic farm that you have to do for it. I don't even know how I got the stance, to be honest with you, let alone 2 copies of it, but hey, I had it. And I can say I do enjoy it, but if you don't have it, go for Malicious Raptor. They both have a nice ground pound, where you will slam the ground and all the enemies will fall from around you. The nice thing about the 4 riders is that it's at the end of the basic combo chain, so you can just tap E and you'll always land one of those ground pounds, and then you can always just go into a finisher and just finish the enemy off right there, and it's an absolute marvel to look at. And it's really nice. What's really nice about the 4 riders is that it has a resistance to knockdown. So if you're fighting heavy gunners or bombards or things of the like, even those shield guys, it'll help resist that because it's really annoying to get knocked down when you're meleeing. And that's pretty much why I use 4 riders, because I'm not used to using close hand combat and I really hate getting knocked down. But Malicious Raptor has a little bit more range, a little bit more fluidity in its attack. It's all personal preference. So going into the mods, I have 4 mandatory mods that I use for the Venka Prime. I use Prime Pressure Point, or you can use Pressure Point if you don't have the Prime variant, or if you don't have it maxed. Then you can go with Organ Shatter, which really takes advantage of the crit build that we're going to be doing. And then, of course, your 2 90% elemental mods. I go with Corrosive. You can go with what you like. I think Corrosive is the best. Next, we're going to go into Berserker because we're going to start a crit build with it, and having the faster attack speed really helps with this weapon. And then up next, you're going to go with the Blood Rush Body Count combo. You could go for the Status Chance combo with Weaving Wounds and Streamline something. I don't remember the name of the mod. But the Status Chance on this weapon isn't really that great. It is primarily a slash-based weapon, but you really want to be proccing slash all that much for bleed. I would just say go with the crit. Seeing the right crits is a lot more satisfying in my opinion. And then after that, go with True Steel. I go with True Steel because I really enjoy having that 40% crit chance. With True Steel, it basically makes it to where if you get 15 on your combo counter, you're going to be doing red crits, which is absolutely incredible. I think at 15 on your combo counter with Blood Rush, you're going to have over 100% crit chance. So it's pretty incredible to see red crits that early. You basically, out the get-go, are just destroying everything. Of course, if you don't like life, or if you like Life Strike and you don't want True Steel, you can replace True Steel with Life Strike. Personally, I didn't like Life Strike. I was using Valkyr Prime when I was using these weapons because I like the War Cry just to make things even faster. And if I needed health, I would just jump into Hysteria and kill an enemy and regen that health. So I didn't really need Life Strike. But if you don't main melee, then I would say definitely go for Life Strike. Overall, this weapon is really fun. It may not be one of my favorites right now. It's slowly climbing its way up into like my top 15 melees right now. But it's just the range that's setting me off a little bit. But I think if I can train myself to get used to it, it really would be a good weapon for me. But it is unique and it's fun in its own way. And in my opinion, it was the best thing to come out of this Prime Access. So I definitely recommend you guys pick this up as soon as you can. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And I wish you guys luck if you're farming for this, because I know I was crying, and I'm still sick from that farm. I still haven't recovered 100% yet, so hopefully I get better soon. But until next time, guys, I will bring out Cernos Prime next, I believe. But until then, I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.